everyone, and this is Friday Funbits question and answer answers. Thank you for those of you who submitted questions to me. I'm going to try and go question by question. So the first one that I have from YouTube is from the Miss Haven, which is Rebecca. I have a little question. Is the postcard swap still happening? Yes, it is. I have no excuses and no explanations other than life took over, and what I need to do is sit down, carve out a few hours, sit down, organize everything, and send out the emails for the swappers. I believe there are 7 groups at this point, so I will update that, and once that's updated, I will post a video as well as an update on my blog. Smashbook. One more. Is the Smashbook something that you would recommend? I would, if you have the money to spend on it. You can always make your own Smashbook. There are plenty of tutorials available on YouTube that can show you just how to use some of your scraps of paper, or even maybe some of your favorite papers, so you can retain, at least a segment of them. I had been toying with the idea of doing that, grabbing some of my favorite papers, putting them together into a cohesive color palette, and then just binding them and making my own little smash of my favorite papers. Almost kind of like, those wallpaper books where you can see a sample of it. So, if you have an opportunity to pick up a Smashbook, I would recommend it. I have enjoyed mine quite a bit. I do, even without having posted videos, I do quite a bit in them in my Smashbook as well as in my Reckless Journal, which I think are kind of in the similar vein, at least I categorize them together. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, Hattie Kaylee89 asks, I was wondering the same question. I'm in group 3 of the postcard swap. I haven't heard anything. Yes, because I'm terrible. I'm bad. I admit it. So yes, it's happening. It will be happened. It's not canceled. I will send out the information for those of you who are participating. Okay, the next question is, wannabe craft grandma. Since you mentioned gardening, I was hoping you know why I have yellow spots all over tomato plants. Are those yellow spots on tomato plants that are closest to the ground, on the leaves closest to the ground? If that's the case, trim them off. That actually is a good thing to do to your already established plants, because what it does is it allows the growth to be concentrated on the flowers and the fruit, because tomato is a fruit, rather than on production of leaves. So if you have good sun protection, in other words, you don't thin them out too much so the stalks and the fruit burn, you still leave ample amount of leaves towards the top, you can totally trim off. Make sure that you're using a clean pair of shears, which you have disinfected from previous use or from use from other plants, so you're not transferring any possible bacteria or blight from one plant to another. So that's my recommendation. Let's see. Becky Baby 52, I just wanted to say, when I listen to your video, I feel like I'm listening to a friend. Sometimes I talk to you when you ask us a question. I have been known to talk back to a video when I watch it. Tell me about your pets. I know you have doggies, but other day you mentioned you have a kitty. And I apologize for the noise from outside. Our lawn's being manicured as we speak. We have 3 dogs. Chester's the oldest, the biggest dog. Moses is the white giant, quote, giant Chihuahua. And Mushka is the small 4.5-pound Chihuahua. We also have a cat named Samantha, who has a freakishly long monkey-like tail and ginormous eyes, and she's the stealth kitty. She will suddenly appear from behind my Kindle when I'm in bed reading and freak the bejesus out of me, because all I'll see is her giant glowing eyes. We used to have another kitty, which was a fabulous, fabulous cat named Oreo, who we taught how to fetch and go to bed, and he was really our second baby, because our initial pet that we had as a couple together many, many years ago was a bunny named Epi. He was a chinchilla lop, and Epi and Oreo grew up together, so each one had a little bit of characteristic from the other. So Oreo was somewhat like a bunny, and Epi was somewhat like a cat. Epi traveled with us just like Oreo did. We used to go on car rides. Epi went to the Cape, and I think he even went to Canada once with us. we're a little bit freaky. Well, not freaky to the point where we're obsessed, but they become part of our family, so they travel with us. Our dogs currently travel with us a lot more trips since we've acclimated Moses to car rides, and he no longer gets sick to his stomach. We just know not to feed him beforehand because he does have motion sickness. But Mushka has traveled with us from the time she was a tiny little puppy. I brought her home in my bra. She was 1.9 pounds. So during the winter, she still sits in my bra while I work in my office. So there's the answer on the animals. And on May 21st, we're getting 6 chickens, which will be egg-laying, not eaten chicken. Okay, Scrappy Girl 18 asks, hello, I'd love to know what's going on with the Smashbook. Was totally inspired to start one after seeing 2 videos you did of yours. Thanks for the great videos too. You're welcome. I mean, I hope you guys find my videos entertaining, because really half the time I forget to even mention to my husband when I've made a new video, and periodically he will ask me, so I'll play it for him. And I think there are times I'm pretty witty, and there are times where I know in the back of my mind it was not a good day, because it translates on video. So that's why I really try not to do videos when I'm not in a good mood. So if you see a day where there's either sparse or nothing from me, it's because I'm in a crappy mood. Hey, we all can have them, right? I mean, I try to be as positive as possible, but back to Smash, I have it right next to me. As a matter of fact, it's within like 10 inches of my Kindle and the camera right now, but I will try to do more Smash updates more often. I've been adding a lot of things that I find. I've cleaned out a couple of desk drawers, and I found all sorts of little knick-knacky paper stuff that I just tuck in there, and I've added it all to my Smashbook because now it's going to be in one place. So yes, I will do more Smashbook videos. Okay, next one's from Pat Treasures and Crafts, who's Pat, and I think I'm meeting Pat Saturday at the meetup at my local scrapbooking store. So here's a question. I'm absolutely frazzled by trying to tally up things and draw winners for my giveaway. I seriously have been working on this way more than crafting. I have been doing this for at least 5 hours a day since Monday. Today's been more like 8 hours. Sigh. So my question is, for the first time giveaway host, do you have any tips for streamlining the process? Let me in on the secret. I don't know how all you ladies do this. I'm stressed to the max. Help, LOL, Pat. Well, Pat, I have been doing giveaways on a regular basis, whether it's giveaways to little knickknacks, or for blog posts, or for swaps that I'm in. The most productive way I have found is unfortunately not through random.org, because that means you have to count every entry. And if you have entries into a giveaway, I'm sorry, I had to piece of orange showed up on my tooth. If you have giveaways in more than one social stream, like on Facebook, on a blog, and YouTube, how do you factually and legitimately account for a sequential order? So what I have found is the easiest. I simply print out those entries, cut them apart, and do a drawing that way. That way it's the most fair, because if you're offering multiple entries into a giveaway by having them posted on multiple social streams, then you truly are accounting for each one. It shouldn't take you that long. I've done giveaways where I've had several hundred entries. You know, print them on regular printer paper, nothing fancy, because you're going to want to fold them, and I just throw them in a bucket. And literally, I sometimes do that while watching TV or just vegging, whatever. It's amazing you find time in the day. Sometimes I'm not sure how much time I actually spend on administrative duties, like video editing and uploading and comments. I've been really behind in answering comments, because just within the last 3 weeks I've had almost 2,000 comments on my channel, so I'm literally behind, and I try to answer every comment. So hopefully that helps out, Pat. Okay. Easy Mommy, EZMOMMY asks, have you ever thought of being a doula? Oh, you know, I did read this yesterday, and this made me really smile. You have the most relaxing voice. I actually listened to your videos during the first part of my labor last week because your voice was so soothing. Well, first of all, that was really touching to me, because I never really know if any, I mean, I know people watch my videos, but you really don't know the impact you have until someone leaves a comment, something similar to this. And thank you. I hope that you had a fabulous delivery. I have not considered being a doula, although there is a fabulous doula on YouTube, who I have learned a lot from, and that's BC Doula, who's Monica, and she's Canadian. I do have a confession to make. I was debating whether to actually let this out, but I used to work for a adult phone line when I was in college. It happened quite circumstantially, and I have found that that has come in very handy for some additional income. That's all I'm going to say. So, if anything, I guess that does relate somewhat to being a doula, in that I might have been at the beginning of the process. All right, I might have gone too far with that one, but so I apologize. But thank you, that was very sweet. Okay, Little Dot 1945 asks, where do you order your flowers? Is there a provider in the U.S.? I'm kind of nervous about ordering from out of state and giving my credit card number. Love your site and your posts and your doggies. Pam. Thank you, Pam, for the site and doggies comment. Flowers. If you are in the market for the first time, in other words, you don't have any relationship with an existing company and you're new to scrapbooking and are not certain who to order from, the best bet is to literally Google that company's name. You will find out that people are far more deliberate in posting negative feedback when something doesn't go well with a company, rather than truly post, as often positive feedback. I personally purchase majority of my flowers, I would say like 80 between 80 and 90%, aside from like some spectacular deal, I can't help it, or a tag sale item, from Wild Orga Crafts, in part because I also design for the company, and I have developed a really lovely relationship. Although the flowers are not from the US, they are shipped from the UK. The last 2 orders I received, including my design team kit, it was within, I think, 5 or 6 days of placing the order. So the turnaround times are very reasonable considering it's coming from out of the country. What I would recommend is finding a company, and if you are interested in a particular company, doing your research, because I understand being cautious about providing your credit card number. Another safe hold that you have at your disposal is to purchase from companies that offer PayPal payments. That way you have, as a consumer, a considerable amount of rights if something does not go right, especially if it's a site that you are not entirely familiar with and may not have heard other people provide reviews for, or show hauls from, or just their personal experience. So my recommendation would be to find a site that you have seen positive feedback from posters, as well as a site that allows you to purchase with PayPal, because PayPal will protect you if something does not go right, given that you you report an issue within the 45-day time frame. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, next is Auburn Tiger 747. I just want to know, why are you so awesome? Thanks for all you do, girl. I don't know about awesome, but I don't know. That's a really difficult thing for me to comment on, because it's not actually a question. Any answer I give that would be boastful would be conceited, so I don't know. I'll have to get back to this one. I might have a witty response later. Gated 3535 asks, other than Copic markers, what's the best marker to use to color? It's not so much best as much, well, I can answer best and then I can answer affordability. Copics are nice. However, not everyone has the access or or can afford to have a substantial amount of Copics. I have, I think, 74 Copics, and I have to tell you, I probably went a little gaga initially when I started purchasing them, And I could have held back and just waited. I do enjoy coloring, and I don't color nearly as much as I should or as I would like to. And it's one of those things that I kind of have in the back of my mind to get back to, which I will. But I think that there are lots of markers that fall within availability and affordability. There's a Sharpie line that comes in, I think, 24 or 36 packs. And those are fabulous starter markers. They're alcohol markers, just like Copics. They're far more affordable. I think I've seen them in those 36 packs at Costco or BJ's. Even Staples carries them. So if you're enticed into purchasing markers to color, and to color with shading gradation, in other words, you just don't just want to color in one tone, but you want it to be shades of same colors, but same hues, but slightly different in order to denote where the light is hitting, then you definitely want to go with a better marker, and then you would want to have 2 to 3 of the same color in various shades, lighter or darker, in order to produce that. But I could totally have a completely separate video just on coloring, and there are a lot of resources online. If you're curious to see market comparison, absolutely put that in the search right in YouTube. Market, or you can even be more specific. Alcohol ink marker comparison, and there are lots of people who have reviewed. I think most recently Amy, who is Prairie Ink Scrap. Once I think of her name, I'll put it up on the screen. She did a comparison, or she did a review of all of the markers that she had in her stash, and some of them she only had a few of, but she wanted to show them. She showed the nib comparison, felt tip, all of that. So she has a great review, so I'll include a link for that. So hopefully that kind of helps out. But never spend more money than you're comfortable. Don't be guilted or enticed into buying whole kit and caboodle unless you know you're going to throw yourself into that particular element of scrapping or crafting, because I believe in having the right tool for the right job, but there is such a thing as going overboard. I know that there are certain things I have to rein myself in on, like 6x6 paper stacks and rubber stamps. However, I do use a lot. I mean, I produce a lot of product that I don't even show. I don't show every project I make. I make a lot of cards for invitations, for clients, for family, for all that. So just make sure that it's worth spending if you're going to invest in something all at one time. You can also pick up a couple of markers at Michael's and get them at 50% off, and then try them out and see if you like them. That's another option. Okay, let's see. The Wyatt, I'm having a hard time reading that. THEWLETTE. Have you seen people in video using rubber cement on their creations? What do you think of that? I actually used to have a jar of rubber cement in my desk for probably close to 15 years. I had it in there, I think, purely for nostalgia reasons. It's sick to admit, but those of you who understand, some of you may understand this, I love the smell of rubber cement. That and original recipe, or the original formulation of whiteout. Those two, for some reason, just flooded back memories of school and paper supply room at my grandfather's accounting firm. Just all those things just flooded back to me. But the last time I went to go use it, I took the cap off and it was literally cement inside. It had solidified, it had dried out. So I have not personally used rubber cement. I'm not sure whether it has any properties that are unique to that product specifically that are not already covered by other glues and adhesives, but I might check into it. So thank you for posting that question. That might intrigue me enough to go check it out. Okay, One Crafty Cookie asks, if I think of one, I'll come back. Okay, Terry, you'll have to come back for the next one. Okay, Marcy Bellows, haven't heard anything of Postcard Swap. Still open, still getting it together. I am sorry for such a long delay. SandCan12, love the informational videos. How do you post your videos on Facebook? All you have to do is grab a copy of the URL. So once you have a video uploaded, you go to your video, and right above the description box, below the video, there's a share button. Once you click on it once, that URL is already highlighted for you. So do Control-C, go to Facebook, and in your what is it called? In your status window, you could just paste that in there, and it will automatically grab a thumbprint of that video, and then you just post it that way. Or you could tether your YouTube account to Facebook, so every time you upload a video, it will automatically be posted on Facebook. And I will do a separate video showing how to do that, because several people have asked about that. And then the last question on the YouTube is, hello, did you ever get the spinner storage thingy from Harbor Freight? I'm on the fence about getting one. Just curious if you like it. Thanks for all your help and information. I appreciate you, Janet. That was from Craft Sponge. Yes, Janet, I did get it. I did put it together. I am pretty good at putting things together. That took a long time. There's an enormous amount of screws. What I'll do is I will take photographs and post it on my blog, because I could not get it to my desk. Right now it's in a different place. It's not in my office. I have to make space on my desk in order to accommodate for it. But unfortunately at this point, I would be giving up a lot of real estate and blocking some of my window, which I love having natural light. So it has not made it to my office yet. I do like it. I have a lot that has already fit in there, and I do have some space. So what I'll do is, I don't know, suddenly out of breath. What I'll do is I'll take some photographs, and I'll include a link in the description below to my blog post, and I will put some close-up photographs of how, what I have in there. And I do like it. I think it was definitely worth the $20 investment. Be patient when you go to put it together. Mock it up. I should have put it together on video just to show kind of the hassles of. It is a hassle. I have to tell you, it is a hassle. But if you could put the time in, the reason it's $20 instead of $55 or $60 for one that's already put together is because you have to put it together yourself. So if you have the patience and the time, you could certainly do it. All you need is a screwdriver. That's it. And then figure out. I did leave a couple of the gaps, and I'll show that in the video. I didn't attach everything the way that it showed, because I wanted to have a wider space in some of the layers. So, and I'll show that close up. So that's all the questions for the YouTube. I'm gonna have to come back and grab the questions from my blog post, and I'll link them all together. So stay tuned. Ooh. Okay, now I'm back with the questions for Friday Funbits Q&A from my blog. And the first question comes from Dan, who I think might be my youngest subscriber. I think he's 13 and he's in Ireland. How did you start crafting, card making, etc.? The quick answer to how I started making videos on YouTube, which wasn't quite your question, but at least is more recent. I lost my best friend of 19 years suddenly. He was there one day and the next he wasn't. And I kind of poured my emotions into making things with my hands. My crafting beginning was probably, I've always had it. I've always made something with my hands. I've baked or cooked or drew or threw clay or painted in acrylics. I was an art major in college, fine arts, theater and languages. I've always created. I think I never lost that passion from the time I was a kid. My biological father was a cartoonist and an established and successful artist in his own means. And I'm thinking maybe some of that is biological. I think some of it is because I just always loved it. I still remember the little dioramas he used to make with miniatures, which maybe is my whole obsession with tiny little things comes from that. So I've been crafting for a very long time. As a matter of fact, when I was in college, I used to do arts and crafts with my little sister's elementary class. She's 9 years younger than I am, so when I would get out of classes in college, I would drive over to her school and help out in the classroom with their arts and crafts. So I've always kind of done that. My sister and I always made stuff together. Now I make stuff, create crafty things with our niece Amanda, who's 6. So that's always been kind of my vein. I've always enjoyed doing that. I love making something with my hands. I think that's always been ingrained in me. Ironically, my mother cannot draw. She says that her extent of her artistic abilities is stick figure with a picket fence, which she more than makes up in other ways. She's a fabulous gardener and a really great cook. So, everyone excels at something, but you can't excel at everything. We all have things that we're not good at. And I'll be more than happy to admit what mine are. Oh, you could see my HD camera reflection. Okay, so the next question is from Emerald D. Queen. Hello, I'm wondering when you do Ustream, because I never get a hold of you over there. Only 2 times, I think. Thank you in advance. Love your blog. Well, thank you for the comment on my blog. I don't have a regular show that I do on Ustream. I kind of pop on and off whenever I have availability. Sometimes I do it during my lunch break if I need to clear away kind of the mental cobwebs and create something. So what I typically do is I pop a message on Facebook that I'll be on in 10-15 minutes. I also tweet it, so if you don't already follow my Twitter, you're welcome to do so. It's right, there's links to all of my social media stream places on my channel here on YouTube. So all you have to do is go to my channel, and then there's that information. There's a link to my Pinterest, to my pin boards, to my Twitter, to my blog, as well as my Ustream. So all that information is there. So for those of you who kind of want to know when I'm popping onto Ustream to do something live, you're welcome to go there. And then once you get to Ustream and have my channel up there, you can follow my crowd. You can be in the in crowd. That way, every time I'm on live and you log into Ustream, you can see whether I'm on live or not. So there's that answer. And I'm going to try and do a Ustream over the weekend. Miss Liz Gator, other than Copics, what are the best markers to use to color? I just can't afford Copic markers and trying to find a good marker to use. Well, this kind of goes in with the answer to the question earlier. I am going to try and pick up at least a 6-pack of the noir markers, those new ones. I'm not sure whether I'm going to love them. I have this thing about, I think it has something to do with the textures and shapes. Sometimes if a barrel of a pen, and I'm just showing you my little stylus, is too big, I find that holding in my hands for any length of time becomes uncomfortable. And the noir markers look like they're square, so they have more angles than the Copics. But I will pick up at least a couple to just try them out, and I will have to get back to you on that question. I'm sorry I wasn't able to answer that directly, but again, there are lots of reviews already available on YouTube. Paula asks, can you print from the Kindle Fire, and there's a way, and is there a way to type some type of app in which you will be able to take pictures and store them on your Kindle Fire? Okay, so you cannot take pictures with the Kindle because it has no built-in camera. There's only one port, and that's the charger port, which if someone comes up with a mini webcam and an app, you would be able to take pictures with your Kindle. You would be able to Skype with your Kindle. I don't believe that's occurred yet, although what a brilliant idea, right? It certainly doesn't have a built-in like the iPad does, but it also doesn't cost as much as an iPad. You cannot print from your Kindle, at least not yet. There's no app because you need to physically, well, if you have a wireless printer and there was an app, then you could do it, but the only documents I have on my Kindle are usually PDF files, and those are typically when, maybe I should backtrack a little. The only files that I retain on my Kindle for any length of time, and that's usually just about a week, are the coupon PDF files from various companies. Because I don't want to forget to print off a coupon, so like Michael's and Joann's and AC Moore, if I open their circulars with the coupon on my Kindle, and several of them, I know the AC Moore one is definitely a PDF file, because once I launch it, it saves it to my Kindle, so when I go to AC Moore, even though they don't have wireless internet, I can pull up that file and use that coupon that way. I realize that's not the printing question, but I'm not aware of an app as of yet for Kindle Fire that will allow you to print wirelessly from your Kindle. Although, if someone knows how to write apps, there's a great one for you. That would be fabulous. Next one is from Amy Kate Rowe, who is, I believe, is in the UK. I couldn't think of a question, but I'd love to hear different languages. Could you read or say something in Russian that's well known, like the first paragraph of Pride and Prejudice or something? I don't have Pride and Prejudice readily available. I don't have it in front of me, and I probably should have done the research and pulled it up, but I can tell you a Russian limerick, which is played like patty cakes, and it's called Na Altaiskih Gorach. So Natasha, who is Manushka on YouTube, is going to get a kick out of this one, and anyone else who watches who understands Russian. Let's see if I remember this. На Алтайских горах, ах, ах, жил великий падишах, ах, ах, захотелось падишаху, аху, аху, съесть большую черепаху, аху, аху. Привезли его в больницу, яйцицу, разорвали поясницу, яйцицу. На Алтайских горах, ах, ах, похоронен падишах, ах, ах. I cannot translate that, well, loosely. It's like a patty cake thing, and I totally did this behind the camera. I did the whole patty cake thing, but you do the hands and then you tap your shoulders with your opposing hands on either shoulder. It's goofy. My sister and I used to do this. Well, I taught her when she was a kid. It's about a sheik in the mountains who has a fight with his wife and then has to be rushed to the hospital, and they rip out his spine. Don't ask me why. I don't know. And this may very well have been a very racist thing. So I apologize in advance if I offend anyone. That's the loosest that I can translate it. And then he's buried in the mountains. But that's my Russian. And then I think this might be the last question. Oh, there's more. Style Your Do, who is Tina, asks, what chipboard do you like to use on your Cricut? That is a fabulous question. I use the backs of notepads. The very last piece that's in a notepad or a paper stack, particularly the paper stack ones, those are thin enough, yet thick enough. They're kind of the right thickness for a multi-pass cut on the Cricut without even having to use a deep blade. If you become friends with someone at your local big box store or local scrapbooking store, when they receive individual sheets of 12 by 12 paper, every pack, whether it's 25 or 50 packs that they receive from their wholesaler, has one of those sheets at the bottom of it. They ordinarily toss them in the garbage. Ask them to hold them for you. Offer to pick them up. That's less garbage for them and free booty for you. So it's, I think the 8.5 by 11 also come on those too. So yeah, make friends with assistant store manager, whoever you need to, talk to, and offer to take it off their hands. They throw it away anyway, and it's like the ultimate in recycling. You get a product you were looking for without having to pay for it, and they get an option to dispose of something without filling up the landfill. So there's my answer for that one. Bev asks, Beverly, I would love to know how you keep your mojo. because whenever mine's gone, I can always rely on you to get it back. Well, thank you. Also, I'd love to know if you could tell me how you pull your color schemes together. Your colors always look so good with your projects. I hope you get to those questions, but if not, I'll have to wait for the next session. I love your blog and constantly on your YouTube channel. Many thanks, Beverly. Thank you, Beverly. And I did get to your question because I think that yours is the very last one. Mojo. I usually get inspired by a stamp, a color palette, or a pattern paper. And for those of you who have watched enough of my videos, you'll see that I'm not overly experimental in the color schemes that I use. I always try to use one of three things: white, craft, or black, and sometimes all three combinations. And then I pull in one primary color and possibly a couple of different hues of that color. That's what speaks to me. It's not right and it's not wrong, it's just what I find aesthetically pleasing. I don't like a lot of colors together. I never have. It's not the kind of thing that overwhelmingly I would look and say and go, wow, that's fabulous. I always find masses of the same color, possibly in different hues, maybe even just in the same tone, together en masse, just really elegant. I can even make a color I dislike, like orange, work well if it's only with one other color. Orange and gray, orange and black, orange and peach, but just one other color. And I'm not sure, I don't know whether it comes from my personal aesthetic or if there's something far more technical that my brain is just telling me, no, these don't look right together. And for those of you who know the color wheel, opposing colors are well received by the human eye together, like purples and greens, those kind of things. I don't really, it's not that I don't prescribe to the color wheel, I just don't use that formula, at least not consciously. I could very well subconsciously be using it and have used it for a long time, but I know what works for me. I like to have something grounded, so I usually use black in practically everything I make, with the exception of a card I made recently, I think just this past week, where I only used pinks and creams, and again, that's just two colors, and you can use different hues of that same color, and it'll still look like it's cohesive. As far as the mojo, whenever I receive a new order of something, whether it's from Stamper's Best or from Wild Rugged Crafts or my online hauls like Scrapbook or wherever I happen to be shopping, Blitsy, I often get inspired in that moment when I open the package. I can't wait to use something, and quite often I literally jump on and use it immediately. Because if I put it away or I put it aside, I have a tendency to forget that I have it. As a matter of fact, I have to revisit my stamps on a regular basis, kind of get a reintroduction, because I feel like I will forget. And majority of the time, because I have kind of a photographic memory, I can remember what I have. I need a refresher. I just need to be reminded, oh yeah, I do have that fabulous little stamp that I really wanted to use in this particular way. So if you see me abuse a stamp, like use it over and over again, it's because I haven't gotten all of my ideas out of my head on paper yet. And that does happen from time to time. And I'm going to have to wrap it up because my camera's blinking. That's about out of time. And I have talked for so long. And for those of you who stuck around for this long, thank you. Thank you so much. Hope you have a fabulous National Scrapbooking Day tomorrow on May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Happy Kentucky Derby. And I will be back with some videos from tomorrow's meetup. Thanks for watching, everyone.